Okay, I did drop a few more edge loops in there to give me a little bit better shape, and also I'll probably end up dropping a couple more in here as they work, because these are the joint areas, as I can see in my drawings and my reference material. And the wings will, once we get them rigged and animated, they will be animating at those joints, folding at those joints. So I want to make sure that those are folding nice and evenly without much problem in the deformation. So, alright, now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and begin modeling the wings. I'm just going to start with a planar surface. Let's put my plane out there. And let's see, close up those tools for now. The edge face is on. So I need a few more segments in there. And I'm going to put several. And I'm going to also put one, actually two, right down the center. And once I have those in place, I'm going to convert to editable poly, go to my sub objects, and right away I'm just going to grab those verts down the center, scale them toward one another. Okay. And that will become the quill for our bird feather. Also, I want you to notice that feathers are not, for the most part, symmetrical. They vary in shape. You can see that these particular feathers on the end, this whole section of feathers is, these are primary feathers, and you can see in my reference material here, oops, here we go, that someone has drawn up a study for the condor, and you can see that these particular feathers are called the primaries, distal feathers, and they overlap the proximal feathers, which are depicted here in lavender. And so this also was gleaned off of Google. Very nice illustration that categorizes these feather groups, and I highly recommend that you look for references like this so that you can understand a little bit more about your subject. So let's go on back, and with that in mind, being the primary feathers, this group out here appear to be shaped very differently than this group. So we're going to go ahead and shape up the distal feather group to start, F for front. And how I'm going to do that is simply by, I think I want just a little bit closer. Alright, so now I'm going to offset these, because I see that they're almost like a knife, where they're very short feather strands on one side, and then they're long on the other, and they even have an unusual fan shape where they become larger on this side. So I'm going to work to portray that shape. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this so I can get a better view on that. Rotate that 90 degrees. Negative 90, so I can have my short side on the top. And then I'm just going to go in here and begin to shape those feathers. And since we have very few polygons to work with here, I'm just going to push and pull verts for the most part. And I can go ahead back in and add geometry as I work. So I have other reference that shows that the quill, how far in to the body of the of the wing that the quill goes. There are different types of feathers that are very close to the quill as well. Alright, now the end of this particular feather is rather pointed, so I'm not going to have a problem depicting that. I'll just go ahead and target weld these to start. And continue shaping those up. Now, there are many processes for creating geometry, as you know. In class, we're currently working with a number of them. So, getting in here and lofting geometry is certainly an option. Creating those with splines, you get some nice, quick feathers that you can convert, and even probably get some good shape, curvature shape on those as well. So now that we have this shaped up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and rotate that into position and continue to shape that. Now in this case, I'm going to object properties and turn this see-through so I can get a better view of my image plane. And I think I'll use this particular feather as my guide. Go ahead and scale that down. Now, if I go to local, then I can work in the direction of the object itself. This has become a little too pointed at the end, so I can fix that pretty easily. Go to local. And you can see now that I've tweaked on this enough where I'm getting an odd gizmo here. Got the name of that, but you can see that it's not the normal gizmo. It's at an angle when I go to local. So go to my front view, zoom in on that. Back to view. Alright. Go ahead and continue to shape on that. And the one thing that I would like to do before I change this anymore, I'm going to go ahead, oops, front, zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this back to its origin. Yeah. Let's see, can I do that? Okay. And in order to get the shape of the feathers, I'm just going to go ahead and pull that back so that when I go in here and break some edges and fan those areas out just a little bit to create these breaks, then the breaks are going in the correct direction. Okay. Also, working with geometry as light as this, I'll be able to get some good transparency. And as I layer these feathers, that will then create the opacity that I need up here closer to my model. So you can begin to see this taking on shape of the feathers. And just going to go ahead and duplicate a few of these into position now. The other thing I want you to be aware of is that there is shape, additional three-dimensional shape in the feathers, not only in the curvature of the feathers from a profile view, but also they are rotated. And you can see these almost look like fan blades. They're rotated as the bird flies, and as it fans its wings, they can actually rotate and fan out, just like we can fan out our fingers. So we want to depict that as well. So if I come in here and grab one of these now, I'm going to bring it out here, copy that, go to front view, and I'm going to select those verts down the center. Okay, actually I'm going to leave those selected, and now I'm just going to bring those out ever so slightly. Let's see, I didn't select something here. Alright, let's try that again. So I can give myself some good form to begin with. Alright, let's try that. There we go. Alright. I'm going to do that a little bit more up here. I'm going to deselect and then put a few of these back a little bit. Well, I can do this by soft selecting, or I can put a slight bend modifier on that, but it's so slight and there's so few polygons. And then I'm just going to do that one by hand. Alright, front view. I can come down in here now. Place this feather. And as I begin to place these, I'm going to closely examine this for light and shadow, and that will help me to determine which direction they can fan. And actually, now that I look at this, I am seeing that the verts actually should go the other direction. So what I'm saying is I chose the verts of the quill and pulled them out in this direction, but when I look at this particular illustration, turn my grid off, I think that I probably should have pulled them the other direction, because I'm seeing a nice highlight here and more shadow here, and yes, that's caused by the fanning of the other feather above it, but what I'm seeing is that this shape goes the other direction. So let's go ahead and fix that. It's easy enough to fix. I'll go right back in here, select these verts, and pull them out the other way. Alright, so that's enough, I think, to be able to show what this is going to do under the lights. So now when I position this and rotate it on this axis, now I know when I render that, it's going to take on the light